The topic is how are the major deals around the world runs. Let's say someone wants to buy arms. Let's say someone wants to buy missiles. Let's say someone wants to buy oil. Or let's say someone sitting in a third world country wants some funds from a organization which is UN or WHO or any world recognized organization. So how are those deals carried out and how does this work? So these deals are little more complicated than the normal deals. Considering this, let's say there is this product, there is a buyer and the seller. Okay? It is a very simple deal. The buyer pays 100 rupees to the seller and things work on. But let's say what are the major deals that happen around the countries and inside the countries. One of them is arms, ammunitions, missiles. Second is oil. Let's say India bought oil of $2.6 billion from Russia. Same goes, India bought oil from Iran and Iraq of $1.3 billion. And third is support funds. Let's say the closest country to India, Myanmar, has got $1 billion funds from United Nations. So there are a lot of chain of people that are facilitating it in between, and a lot of kickbacks and a lot of rishwats and a lot of commissions are paid out through and are paid throughout the chain. So how does this work? Let's talk about bigger arms deals. There is this company known as Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, which decided to supply approx 5,200 crores RD-33 aero engines for MiG-29 aircrafts. Okay, this was a deal between that company and Indian government. Second deal, L&T, the company that is into construction, Larsen and Toubro, had an 8,000 crore deal with the Indian government of selling close-in weapon system and high power radars to the Indian government. And third is the BrahMos Aerospace, which entered into an agreement for 20,000 crore with the Indian government to sell BrahMos missiles. Let's talk about how does these deals happen. Let's say the product is precision missiles. Okay. Now the seller has his own team of employees and buyer has his own team of employees. Now these employees cannot enter into transactions directly, but everyone in the company is there to earn. And what better way in deals like this? Intermediaries. Same goes for here, intermediaries. These are mostly relatives or friends / family to the employees of the companies. There are multiple intermediaries. Now the product is precision missile. Here comes the main element, which is mostly the licensing officer. LO is the common term used in this industry. There is not one LO, there are multiple LOs. Along with that, there are multiple intermediaries who charge commissions, and then there are multiple employees who take kickbacks, rishwat, bribe, which is a much more formal word is commission. Okay? And then there is seller, buyer, the main companies. Now the simple thing here is, let's say the deal is okay, the product is finalized, the missiles are okay, approved by all of these people. What happens now is, we are not talking deal terms, we are sure that this deal will carry on. The first thing that happens is discussion of terms, payment schedules, delivery timelines, and quality testing. Quality testing is one thing. Okay, no two lots, no two products can be exactly similar. There is always something that goes on from the first consignment to the last consignment, which is different, which the seller has to pay bribe to the buyer's quality testing department and it gets approved. The deal is done, okay, the quality is all tested. Now how is the payment done? So how is this payment done? Let's say payment is not done directly. There is a person known as Sarpanch. Sarpanch is a loose term, we can say. Okay? The actual terms that they use in these industries are paymasters. Paymasters are people, basically they are neutral third parties. Either they are lawyers or either they are financial institutions like some bank or a bigger bank who make sure that every part of the deal is done and then everyone is paid. So paymaster has to ensure that even the intermediaries are paid, Okay, even the main licensing officer is paid, and paymaster has to ensure that all the kickbacks are paid to these employees. Now paymaster has a very good benefit, has a very good tool in his hand, which is escrow accounts. So escrow accounts are basically, let's see, paymasters can be manipulated. Okay, to bulletproof the paymaster's role, escrow account is opened, basically a third party neutral account which ensures that all the compliances by the seller and the buyer is done. Then only the payment gets transferred by the buyer to the seller. Then only the payment will get transferred. Okay? That's what the main point of escrow is. So basically the role of these is to ensure the security of both seller and buyer. Along with this, there is a term in these industries known as bank guarantee, okay, which is very commonly known as BG, which is in almost every contract, okay, that you do with the government or some big party. Along with that, there is a thing called as performance bond. All these specifications you can study, but then the idea here is how does this payment work. Plus what I'll do is I'll upload this video properly edited. Anyways, we are talking about bank guarantees and performance bonds. So what happens here is BG, you know, that this much is the security amount. If the contract doesn't get completed, the BG will be seized. Same goes for performance bonds. Let's say the seller has decided to deliver 1000 precision missiles to buyer, and the buyer has agreed to pay X amount to seller. Okay, this is the performance that they have both agreed to. So what they will do is they will go to the bank, okay, and they will issue bonds. They'll pay the bank and the bank will issue them bonds. This particular compliance will be completed, and if it doesn't get completed, this will be the amounts that will go to the other party. So these are known as performance bonds. Performance bonds are used by both parties to reduce the risk. Now let's talk about the most critical part. We are talking about these deals which are of tens of thousands of crores. Okay, so there are always some chances where things go wrong. Plus, let's say a deal between India and India is okay, thoroughly done. You can catch that person. What happens if it is a multiple jurisdictional deal? Multiple jurisdictional deal, let's talk about deals related to Rafale jet that India bought, which was deal between India and France. Another very clean deal we can talk about is Saudi Aramco's IPO, where multiple banks were involved, like HSBC, JP Morgan, Citi, and multiple banks. Third is the China's Border and Road Belt Initiative, where multiple jurisdictions are involved. And then there is another deal which is ExxonMobil Guyana oil deal, okay, where multiple jurisdictions are involved. Okay, so how do you curate this deal? See, this is very basic, okay, that how does the deal get done, okay, and how will be the payment, how payments will be done. Now let's say you come here, okay, and you are one of the intermediaries, and you decide to do the deal in a way where you don't have to pay taxes, okay, or where you can optimize taxes, or where the jurisdiction is more suitable to you. So how does these deals carry on where multiple jurisdictions are involved? So let's talk about the use of offshore jurisdiction. First is using the jurisdiction which is a tax haven, most probably a Caribbean island, which is Cayman, Trinidad and Tobago, okay, BVI, what else, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica Republic, St. Lucia. All of these islands have very good, even Belize. All of these islands are tax haven and have presence of almost every bank there. So what companies do is what both these companies, all of these intermediaries and everyone do is they route their funds through jurisdictions which are low tax or are tax neutral to both the countries. Second is choosing a jurisdiction which has anonymity. Okay, now these licensing officer, which are the star players, plus these are also the star players. These are the players which are essential because employees cannot directly deal. So they would always want to hide their identity that they have helped facilitate this deal. For that, they choose a jurisdiction which offers secrecy, and one of them is Switzerland. And another such jurisdiction is British Virgin Islands, which offers a lot of anonymity. Along with that, all the crown dependencies, the Isle of Man, the bailiwick of Guernsey and Jersey, these offer full secrecy and anonymity to everyone. Okay, that is another point that these people consider, choosing a jurisdiction which offers secrecy to them. Third is choosing a jurisdiction, because this is a very big deal. Even in a simple deals, things get a lot of conflicts. Okay, there are a lot of conflicts between buyer and seller, lot of conflicts between employees. Same goes in these deals. Let's say there is a dispute between the seller and the buyer, the employees, or anyone else who is not paid well. Okay, so everyone decides to choose a jurisdiction which is either neutral or favors them. Two such very neutral jurisdictions are Singapore and London. Okay, because there is International Court of Justice, which can do these both, which can do this, which can provide this, plus which has presence in countries which is tax neutral, जहाँ से पैसा पास होगा, country of the seller, country of the buyer. Okay, now let's say we decide on a bank, Indian National Bank जो SBI. Okay, now SBI might not have presence in the Caribbean islands. We are choosing them for tax saving purpose. The bank which is chosen is either which is international, which has presence throughout the world. Usme there is always a bias. Okay, if there is a USD transaction, a bank which has a registered office in New York is always chosen. And if it is a transaction in Asia, a bank which has its registered office in HK is always preferred. Okay, that's how it goes generally. That's the thumb rule in this industry. Plus, banks should have presence in almost every nation where these people are involved. Along with that, banks should be able to facilitate all of these people banks as well, so that smooth cross-border transactions take place. Third is payment flows. Payments, what happens in these is payments are always in part. Either it is 10% on commitment, then phase-wise milestones. Okay, and another important thing is the deal that happens between them is throughout the years. Okay, it takes 0 to 1 year or 2 years or multiple years to complete this deal. तो अगर आज डॉलर का रेट 84.89 है, 84.58 है, सेम गोज लेट्स से कल को डॉलर का रेट चेंज हो गया, तो what banks help in is hedging the risk. Bank are preferred in a way who can help in forex, who can help in hedging the risk. Plus there is a concept known as currency swaps. Okay, so that is a whole different arena, but then you get the idea that banks are chosen in a way where the sellers and the buyers can both hedge their risk for the fluctuation in currencies. There is always a trust between parties. The employees don't eat each other's profit. Everything, there is an agreement prepared in the start that who will get how much and how much will be the commissions that will be served. Everything goes according to that. Along with that, as there are multiple jurisdictions involved. सबसे पहले तो seller की country, फिर buyer की country, फिर इन दोनों intermediaries की country, ठीक है, फिर a tax haven or a tax neutral jurisdiction which has been chosen to route the payments, then the countries where all of these people want the money in and plus they reside in. So what happens in this is there are multiple jurisdictions involved. So there are two acts which everyone needs to consider while doing these bigger transactions. Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, okay, and then there are OFAC sanctions. Let's say sanctions which are imposed by United Nations or which are imposed by the Puaji of the world, US. So that has to be kept in check while dealing with all these transactions. Along with that, there should not be any corruption, which is ensured by FCPA Act. Plus there is a lot of consultancies which goes into this, ठीक है, तो उसमें एंट्री मारते हैं अपने CA and lawyers to ensure double taxation avoidance agreements. Now the most important thing, how are the kickbacks? ये जो employees हैं, in a bigger deal like this, how are the employees? Because these people take money from these deals as commissions, but employees can't take commissions, so they have to take kickbacks or rishwats or bribes. Okay, how is this solved for them? Multiple shell companies. Okay, we are just at the end part जिसमें I am explaining how are the employees paid kickbacks. So it is a very simple process. Employees mean officers, अधिकारीज जो भी companies के रहते हैं, seniors, lowers सारे, ठीक है. So they use multiple shell companies in various jurisdiction. First is using multiple shell companies in various jurisdictions, including tax havens. Basically, first they go to Cayman, then they go to British Virgin Islands, then they go to Cyprus, then they go to HK. Just like this, they keep on layering the transaction so that it doesn't directly comes to them. And in this, the commissions and the kickbacks are really high. I mean, in a deal like this, they would be getting commissions of 50 CR, 100 CR, 70 CR like this. Each individual. Okay. So they can afford this cost to use multiple jurisdictions and multiple shell companies which are created solely for the purpose of transferring funds so that the identity of the last intended user can be hidden. Now, these employees cannot be paid directly in the name of commissions. Okay? So they use this term often in their balance sheets to leak out their expenses to them. So they do it via the name of consulting or brokerage or advisories or strategies management, something. Okay, just so that they can expense their profits out and give them to these employees. Third and the most foolproof way is creating trust. Offshore trust. So an offshore trust, especially in Cook Island, is a pure anonymous organization or an entity. These employees, all of these people can be a combined beneficiary. Let's say all of the profits, all of the commission, all of the kickbacks generated from this transaction is 500 CR. Now all of this can go to this trust, and this trust bylaws can define how and each of its beneficiaries will be paid. Plus, trust don't need to report to any government. Also, they are hidden. What I'll do is I'll create smaller snippets and a proper with full effects presentation for you guys and upload it again. Okay. जिसको जितना समझ आया ठीक है, जिसको कम समझ आया वो भी ठीक है, जिसको ज़्यादा समझ आया वो भी ठीक है. Who overlooks every compliance in each country? This is a question by one of the viewers, that who overlooks every compliance in each country. ठीक है, तो उसमें बाजी मार जाते हैं these people, CAs and the lawyers. ठीक है, and CA and lawyers mostly are the big fours who have presence in almost every country. All the big four companies, big four consultings. Yes, forward contract is one thing that we can hedge risk from. Okay, bye bye. ऐसे ही what I plan is we must do lives every day. Okay, so that the whole community can learn and grow together. Bye bye. Good night, guys.